Hello everyone, V-Clutch here. If you're watching this, I almost died. I'm not going to go too much into detail because it's very personal, I guess, the way it happened and like who was involved and stuff like that. But basically, I was trying to sleep after like the 4th of July, basically. So it was at like around 2 a.m. on the 5th of July. And I was having trouble sleeping like I usually do. And I had a very early and very intense alarm clock, which was a explosion sounding sound along with a ear-piercing ring afterward, and an intense surge of pain ringing throughout my body. I got shot with a gun, a 9mm. Keep in mind, I was trying to sleep when it all happened, so I was in a very peaceful state, and then out of nowhere all this happened within a fraction of a second, and I did not know what the hell was going on. I don't know why, but I had some weird takes on what it could be, because I just did not expect it to be a gun. That was it wasn't even in my mind that it could be a possibility, but I thought it was maybe someone misfired a firework, I guess, and it somehow went and hit my back while I was laying down on a bed, and that, it didn't make much sense, but that was one of the thoughts. Another was maybe it's some sort of physical night terror I'm having. I don't actually have night terrors, but I've heard of them before. I don't know if there's any sort of physical sensations you could get from them, but I was maybe that's a possibility. I'm just suddenly having them. As far as I know, the individual that actually shot me was drunk, and also, as far as I know, it was a misfire. They were on the first floor of the building, and I was on the second. I sleep upstairs, and they were in the bathroom when it all happened. I don't know what exactly they were doing with it, but apparently it misfired. And then I shot up in pain and was making pain noises. They ran upstairs real quick and busted through my door and was checking on me, making sure I was, all right, I guess. I think they themselves were in a little bit of shock because it didn't seem like they knew what to do at first for a while. Eventually, they called the police, and it kind of seemed like they hesitated to actually say what happened. Eventually, they said, "I'm so sorry, this is all my fault," and then said it was a misfire. Then I didn't even consider the fact that it could possibly be a gun. Eventually, I'm pretty sure they stated that it was a gun, and then that's when I had a moment of realization, wow, I could die right now. I'm gonna go ahead and text my parents that I love them. So I did. I probably should have texted more people, but I didn't know how much time I had left, and I wanted to try to focus on, doing what I can to stay alive, if I can do anything at all, because it's all the way in my back. I can't reach back there and put pressure on it or anything. So, luckily, the police and ambulance arrived pretty quickly. Surprisingly, I was able to get up and walk down the stairs. I think it was the adrenaline making pain not very noticeable, because I wasn't in that much pain when it all happened. But my God, the after effects, the entire time I was in the hospital, and even right now, about a week after I got released, which I spent 2 weeks in the hospital also, I'm still feeling horrible. Thankfully, I got prescribed with some pain meds, and they sent me home with a few bottles. But on the ride to the hospital after it happened, they gave me some concentrated fentanyl. And my God, was it some good stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding. They did give it to me, but, I don't promote it. I don't promote substance abuse. They gave me some concentrated fentanyl on the ride, and once I got to the hospital, eventually they also gave me morphine. And they gave me morphine. I don't know how many times they gave me each thing, but eventually the most thing that I was taking while I was at the hospital was something called I always forgot the name of it, but it's called Dilaudid. It's I think the scientific name of it is let me see here, hydromorphone or something like that. Hydromorphone. Yeah, I guess it's one of the more powerful ones, up there with fentanyl. I didn't know that. I've never heard of it until I was like at the hospital for that. Once we arrived at the hospital in the ambulance, they went ahead and did an x-ray, and they found out that my left shoulder blade was broken and my left lung was collapsed. Eventually down the line, they also found out that a rib, or a couple ribs maybe, were also broken. Nothing was like shattered, thankfully. Everything was still intact. It was more so just cracked, basically. And no organs were punctured, thankfully. But it still hurt like hell. I think the biggest problem that the hospital had to focus on was my collapsed lung. Because right when I got to the hospital and they found out that I had a collapsed lung, they had to inject more pain meds and then basically do surgery on me while I was still awake. And I've always hated the idea of that. Like, if I ever actually needed to go to the hospital and get some sort of surgery done, I hated the thought of being awake while it happened. That was just terrifying to me. But thankfully, the pain meds took most of the pain away. I still felt it, especially the pressure. It was so weird. They basically cut into my side and put a big tube, a big drain tube near my lung, like in my chest, basically. It was, I guess it was like a lung pump, I think is what they called it, or chest tube, chest pump, some weird thing like that. The chest tubes basically just sucked a bunch of blood and stuff like that out of my chest that wasn't supposed to be there, that got there because my lung was collapsed. So the more they drained it, the easier it was for me to breathe. After they pull the pumps out, that is. And that was such an experience. Oh my god. It was so weird. I was awake for that as well. Them pulling it out after they put it in, oh my god. It's just this giant long tube that they shoved into my chest, and then they pulled it out without any like pain meds or anything that I was on at the time, other than like maybe pills or something. They pulled it out, and the pressure that I felt, it was more so pressure than pain, but oh my god, it was a painful pressure feeling, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't necessarily painful, but the pressure made it like psychologically painful. Like, ooh, it was gross. It was a gross feeling. It's as if I felt ridges of the pump, like, just grind against my freaking ribs, but I don't think there were actually any ridges. It just felt that way. I don't know. It was really weird. They made me do this thing where I would, like, exhale and go, like, really loud, basically. Just hum kind of really loud. And that was a way for my lung to, I guess, work again. I think it was kind of a limited time thing. I don't know why. I think they explained it kind of poorly to me, or I just didn't really understand it the way they were explaining it to me. But if I didn't do that, it could potentially mess up my lung again or something. I'm not 100% sure how that works or how it worked at all. But I guess me doing that helped fix my lung. I don't know. That's as much as I understand. But basically, they had a total of 3 lung pumps in me. There was a big one and 2 smaller ones. I get the giggles sometimes whenever things are about to happen, and I know they're about to happen. So each time a pump was removed, I was like, get all giggly. And it made it a bit difficult to actually like try to take a deep breath and actually do the hum thing. But eventually, they took them all out, thankfully. And I definitely noticed a change. I was able to breathe relatively normally. There was still a huge difference, but I was feeling a lot better after all the pumps were removed out of my body. For those who watched this far into the video, first of all, thank you so much. My viewer retention rate is horrible. You're a very brave soul, especially now, because I'm going to treat you with with some images. If you want to see them. If you're squeamish, I would not recommend looking. But if you're not squeamish, I shall put the bullet hole image on screen in 3, 2, 1, boom. There it is. There's the actual bullet hole That's where the bullet entered my body. The only other image like this that I can show you is the large chest tube. Here it is. That's the worst hole in my body. It's kind of ironic. It's from the hospital and not the actual gunshot. I don't know. That's kind of funny. There are 2 other holes, but one is stitched up and is basically closed already, and the other isn't that bad at all. It kind of looks like the bullet hole, but just a bit smaller and less intense, I guess. So they're not even really worth showing. And here's the actual, like, diagnosis that I got. Like, once I was released from the hospital. Yeah, all this stuff. Minimum recovery and maximum recovery, I guess, times. I believe it said 6 to 8 weeks. So, yeah. How fun is that, gamer? Something happening right now, though, at the time of recording this video. My left armpit is, like, numb, and around my arm is kind of numb. I heard that that's not normal, and I even talked to my one of the male nurses called me and, like, did a little checkup on me a little bit ago, and I let him know, and he even said it wasn't normal. So I have a little appointment to get that checked out. I think I've had the numbness basically ever since I had surgery to put the 2 smaller lung pumps in. And that was also a weird experience. They used nerve block, which I guess was supposed to numb me for a few days, at least in the area that they did surgery on. I only started feeling numb a bit after surgery, and I've felt numb ever since. It was kind of trippy before they put me to sleep. They injected something that was kind of quick at working, and it, like, I felt it hit me, whatever it was, before I fell asleep, and everything was echoing around me. It was like I was tripping. It was crazy. But I felt everything echoing. Everything got real. It sounded really dull. Like it's like I don't know how to describe it. It was like only treble that I could hear. Like no bass, basically. Like it was all just flat noise. Like I'd assume it's something along the lines of how like tone deaf people hear things. It was so trippy. But eventually they were like, all right, now you're going to go to sleep soon. And I was like, okay. I closed my eyes. I was like playing along. I was going to I thought that was the thing that was supposed to put me to sleep. But I guess it was something after that they added with that. So I was trying to like fight it, be like, how long can I stay awake? This is going to be such a cool experiment. But they actually had to add something onto it, and then it worked immediately. But basically, before it happened, they were like, all right, we're going to inject something, and then you're going to be put to sleep. All right. Like they injected, and they're like, all right, we're going to go ahead and inject it. Good night now, or something like that. And I was like, good night. And I don't remember anything after that. It like immediately happened. I was like, all right, goodbye, or something like, I don't know how to describe it. I was just like, good night, like saying it back to them. And then it just went blank, and I woke up, and it was like, I woke up and I was like, it was like, I felt so weird and gooey. I don't know how to describe it. Gooey, that probably wasn't the right word, but it was odd. They were asking me a bunch of questions, the usual questions to see if someone's okay. They were like, I think they asked like what my birthday was, what my name is, stuff like that. I was answering everything perfectly fine. Surprisingly, I felt like clear enough in the head to answer these questions, but it was so, like, I felt so weird. I felt like I shouldn't know the answer to these questions, like the way I was feeling. I felt like if I knew what being high felt like, I would assume it felt something like that, but worse. It was really trippy. I kind of wanted to sleep after that, but I feel like I was too eager to, I wasn't eager to stay awake. It's just, I think I was feeling a lot of pain, because I don't think they use actual pain meds on me. I don't think they did, because I woke up and I think that's why I felt so bad. One of the reasons, at least, is because they didn't use any pain meds, and it was a horrible feeling. And I had to deal with it for a while until they'd give me anything. I think I had to just wait until my next allotted dose, which I think took a while, because they had to bring me all the way back to my room, and then it's like a scheduled thing, so I have to wait until a certain time anyway. That was trippy as hell. Everything echoing around me and the sound getting all weird. Like, I heard the doctor go, hey, so we're about to do this. It was so weird. Everything they said was echoing and the like sound was getting kind of quiet, like I could hear things a little bit less sensitively. Like I think there was like some sort of fan going in the background and it was really loud. But once that happened, I like did not hear it at all. I like only heard their voices and they were echoing. It was so cool, but trippy. It was so weird. All right. Anyways, everyone, that was my near-death experience. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope nothing in this video happens to you, because that would suck. I also hope that you can't relate to anything bad in this video, because that would also suck. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you maybe enjoyed. I think more so, I hope you learned something that you didn't know before. What could you have learned? I don't know. I guess that's up for you to decide. Thank you for watching anyway. I really appreciate it. Peace out, gamers. I love you. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. Peace out, gamers.